family and friends.
Aunt Liz TV!
She's a magician in the kitchen.
Aunt Liz TV!
Watch it on Mondays and Thursdays.
Aunt Liz TV!
Cooking yummy foods and...
Hey everybody, welcome to Tasty Thursday. Today is a very special day. Now normally on Thursdays we do finger foods and appetizers for football season because I'm wearing my football clothing. And today we are going to do a finger food type recipe, but it's not going to be regular football food. On Saturday, in just 2 days from now, one of our very special viewers is going to be turning 7. And so she requested Cakepops for her birthday recipe. So that's what we're going to make today. Now I have never made Cakepops before, so this is going to be an adventure for both of us. But I've eaten them and they're delicious. So I'm hoping that ours will be just as delicious as Cakepops that I've eaten at other places. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a half of a cake. Now I made this yesterday, so it's nice and cool. You want to be sure that the cake you use is already cooled off. You don't want it to be too warm. So this is just perfect. And we just need half of a cake, so I cut the cake in half. And do you think Taste Tester has eaten that whole half of the other cake? I don't know, he really likes cake. Okay, so we have our half of a cake. We have some frosting. We need lollipop sticks, and I just got these at the craft store. And also from the craft store, I got these little plastic bags that are for Cakepops. And then we have, these are called candy melts, and I also got these at the craft store, and they're over in the candy making and baking section. So the first thing we're going to do is, now I have clean hands. I just washed my hands, you didn't see them, but they're clean. First thing we're going to do, and this is kind of a messy part, so you might like it. Some of you who don't like to get your hands messy, though, might not like it. You need to take your cake and you're going to just pick it up. And you need a big bowl. You could also use a mixer if you wanted to. And you just break it up. And what we need to do is make sure that our cake is in little crumbles. So can you see I'm just mixing it up until it's crumbly. We used to have a cake, now we have a bowl full of crumbles. And you don't want any big chunks, you want to just crumble it just until all your big chunks are gone. See how it's fine? That's exactly how you want it to be. Okay. We're going to take a break here. I'm going to go wash my chocolatey cake hands and be right back. Okay, we're back. My hands are clean. Now what we're going to do is take our frosting, and you can use any kind of frosting. I'm using chocolate cake, so I'm using vanilla frosting, but you could use chocolate frosting or peanut butter frosting, any kind of frosting you want. And you're going to use about half the container for half the cake. So just put in about half the container. And you can always add more if you need to, but it's kind of hard to take frosting out. So you want to be sure, I forgot to get my spoon. You want to be sure that you start with less frosting than more frosting. Although, is there really such a thing as too much frosting? I don't know. Okay, so then you just mix it around, and you're going to just mix this up until all of the crumbles have been coated with frosting. So I'm going to keep mixing. We'll be back in just a minute to make our cake pop balls. Okay, so you can see my hands are all cakey and frostingy. Is that a word? I don't know. We're going to say it's a word. Frostingy, I like that word. Okay, I ended up actually using my hands to mix the cake and the frosting together because I thought the spoon was a little bit cumbersome. So now that I've got it all mixed together, I've got this big lump of cake and frosting. Look at this. Can you imagine eating a cake pop this big? Oh my goodness, this cake pop is as big as your head. We're not really going to eat a cake pop this big. What we're going to do is kind of like in our energy ball video where we broke off little pieces and made balls. That's what we're going to do here. So you're going to just take off little pieces and you're going to just roll it in your hands until you have whatever size ball you want. You can make little ones or big ones. We're going to make them about this size. And then you just put them in a baking dish or on a tray, because what we're going to do is actually put these in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Now if you have lots of time and you feel like you can wait to taste these delicious cake pops, you can put them in the fridge for about 2 hours, but we're going to put ours in the freezer. So we're going to just keep making, or I'm going to keep making these cake pop balls. And then as soon as I'm finished, we're going to pop them in the freezer for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and melt our chocolate for the candy coating and put our sticks in. So we'll be back in about 15 minutes. Okay, our cake pops are in the freezer. They're almost ready to take out. So now it's time to go ahead and melt our candy melt. So I just have plain white ones. They come in all different flavors and colors and quite a selection, but I'm just going with white. So you're going to dump some into a bowl, and what you want to do is use about half the bag. That looks good. So we're going to pop this in the microwave, and you're going to do it for a total of 2 minutes, but you're going to do it in 30-second intervals. So after 30 seconds, we're going to stop it, give it a quick stir, and then do another 30 seconds. So here we go with our first 30 seconds. Okay, our candy melts have finished melting, so I'm going to take them out. Now you've noticed that I put them in a smaller dish, and that's because when we dip our cake pops in, it's actually easier to have a deeper layer of candy melts than wider, and you get a deeper layer when you use a smaller bowl. So what we're going to do is we've got our cake balls ready to go. We're going to take one of our lollipop sticks, and you dip just the end of it in the hot candy melt. This just kind of serves as a glue when you put your cake pop on the stick. So then what you do is just take your stick and put it down into a cake pop. Just a little bit, just enough so it doesn't fall off. And then we're going to just take our cake pop and dip it in our chocolate. And you might want to swirl it around. You want to be sure that you get your cake pop all the way covered. And then you can tap off the excess. Just hold on to it and tap just a little bit, and you'll see some of the excess chocolate coming off. Okay, and once it's finished dripping, you're going to put it in this piece of styrofoam, and this is just going to hold it up. So just pop it in there and move on to your next one. So we'll do one more. So dip the lollipop stick. I don't think I got quite enough on there. And then you take your cake ball, stick it in down in there. And you don't want to, when you put your cake pop into your candy melt, you don't want to actually swirl it around. You want to just kind of dip it up and down, because if you turn it or swirl it too much, your cake ball might start to fall apart. So you just dip it down in. You might need to do it a couple of times. And you can do it just lightly around the edge just to get your cake pop all the way covered, and then tap off the extra, and you can see how our cake ball over here, cake pop is already starting to harden up. The candy melts dry pretty quickly. It gets hard. So if you want to add sprinkles or something else to your cake pops, this is the point you need to do that, because if you wait until the candy melts are already hard, then it's going to be too late and you won't be able to get anything to stick to it. So I'm going to finish these up, and then we're going to come back and see the finished product. So as you can see, our cake pops are finished being coated, and I think they look pretty good for our first try. So I've wrapped a few of them up. Now these are supposed to look like volleyballs because our birthday girl is a big fan of volleyball. She's learning how to play the game. And so she wanted volleyball cake pops. So that's what we made for her birthday. But if you're making these for a football party or even the Super Bowl or some other big sports events, you could use different color candy melts to do team colors. So if you were going to make Packer cake pops, you would want to have some green and some yellow and some white. Or some of your other teams, which I won't mention, you could easily get candy melts that are your team colors as well to be very festive. So what I've done here is I've used my little plastic cake pop bags. And you can see they just open at the bottom, and we're going to just slide it right over the top. You leave it in the styrofoam because then you don't have to worry about it falling over. So you just slide it over the top, and then you can either use, I've got some fancy ribbon like I did on this one, or you can just use a fancy little twist tie, and you just kind of gather it at the bottom and hold the plastic bag shut with one hand and then twist the twist tie with the other, and then your bag is beautiful. Your cake pop is beautiful, It's ready to be taste tested. So, I don't know if our taste tester has ever even had a cake pop before, but I'm going to go find him and see what he thinks.